Public health has been in this county for many years, and for many years it did not have a health board or a
Hospital board. For many years it was a private nonprofit.
well, I still say you're putting out bogus information, and I don't think it's right. Now, for another comment, I believe that this gentleman was going to ask, and you said you're going to answer. I've noticed in the papers that you've said time and time again that you're talking about reducing the amount of money from the 38 cents a thousand. That is a permanent tax rate. Under the ORSs, you cannot reduce a permanent tax rate. So I don't think that's quite correct either. And the 38 cents a thousand that the people voted on for was not for a hospital, it was for a critical access hospital. And a critical access hospital has a lot more federally refunds and everything else in it to help it run, whereas a regular hospital does not. So there's a lot of things that's being put out that is not quite accurate. And I think it's your responsibility as a health board to correct that.
Okay. Anybody else? Sir.
My name is Leroy Johnson, native of the area, long time. Freddie Brendit came in, there he sits. Anyway, I have a little piece of information here that I got at the courthouse yesterday. And, well, I want to thank the board for giving me the time to be here. I forgot that. That's important. You know, we're privileged in this country to get together and get to speak our mind and get information. I happened to go to the meeting of, with Ron Wyden Saturday. And that was very important. You didn't get there, Fred. Anyway, there's issues came up that pertinent to what we're doing, but the majority of it was about national issues. But it still is a learning experience. Anyway, what I have here is fresh out of the courthouse yesterday, and it's pertaining to dollars. And I can understand there's a differential from 2004 to now in costs and so forth. But this is quite an eye-opener, and it'll knock your socks off, I think. And if you kind of enlighten me what it says there, I don't see how you can operate anything on 28,000. That come out of the assessor's office yesterday. And of course, there's government money put in that, state money for the health district. That's a mandated thing. This has already been brought up. But I remember about the health district clear back in 1929. They had a county nurse, and it was kind of humble, but we had a hospital on 4th Street, and people got by. But times grow, times change. I can understand the change now, and we have to accept that. With a cost factor involved. But what Freddie was talking about and the cost factor now is gone completely out of the ballpark. That's my feeling. But I'd like a little explanation on those figures. How do you allow that? What is it, 998,000? That's the amount of money the district took in. And before they operated on, if it was on the, I can't even quote the percentage rate, it's hard for me to read, that it only turned it to $28,000. That's a vast, vast differential.
I have a couple of questions.
Could you see?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm Stephanie Claypool. I'm really interested in the comment that Gary made to Tammy about Earl Fisher. I wonder if you could explain that a little more. That's the first I've heard
My
of it.
information is hearsay. But I am aware, Tammy is right, public health services are state mandated. Should Columbia County decide that they don't want to do them, and they have said repeatedly that they don't want public health services, that they can't afford them, can't afford to do them, then those services would be provided elsewhere. My understanding is that the state of Oregon doesn't have the ability to provide local public health services. So what they normally do is they contract with adjoining counties to provide the services to the county that doesn't have the services.
Now, what's your understanding? Who in Columbia County would be making the decision that public health would be going away? As far as the present board members. Wouldn't it be you guys? Or what? Or do you think the county commissioners have that right?
Well, the county commissioners, by government, intergovernmental agreement, have given public health authority to the health district.
Okay.
But if for any reason the health district, for example, is dissolved, then that public health authority goes back to the county, and the county gets to make the decision as to what happens.
Okay, so then if I understand what you're saying right, only if the health district is dissolved with the county commissioners then have the ability, the legal ability to make that decision. Am I understanding that right?
Well, they could make that decision under other circumstances as well.
What kind of others?
The intergovernmental agreement says that if the county doesn't want us to do the public health services anymore, they can notify us of that 180 days before the agreement is to be terminated. It's self-renewing every year unless somebody says, no, we don't want to renew it, or we want to renegotiate it. And we have renegotiated it several times over the course of the years. So that's the way it would happen. The county can say, no, we want to take this authority back.
The reason I'm asking this question is because numerous times the county commissioners have said that under the special district rules, you guys are an entity all within yourselves, and they've got no say over you. So that's a contradiction.
No, it's not a contradiction.
Either you're a standalone or you're not.
We are a municipal government. As far as public health services are concerned, we agreed to take public health services so that the public health services would come under the state tort limitations that are available only to municipal corporations.
Okay, great. Okay, that's interesting. Okay.
So, no, the county cannot, the county does not have authority over the health district. But the county can say, as far as this intergovernmental agreement is concerned, we want public health services back. And they notify us of that, and in 180 days, the agreement is terminated.
So my next question would be then, that's interesting to know, if a new board's elected in May, they could decide to take it back
They could.
if they don't like the people on the board. I'm just thinking out loud here.
Well, I'm not going to think on the
But
part
I
of
mean,
the county
hypothetically, they
commissioners.
could do that.
But yes, they could do that.
What is it, is it like a 1/1 to 12/31 yearly agreement, or it's fiscal year, or what? You know?
It
The-
expires every June.
Yeah, it's a fiscal year.
So it's a fiscal
Fiscal year.
agreement, gotcha.
Fiscal year, 1 July.
1 July, 30 June.
Okay. Now, when you were talking about.
One more question, Stephanie. This is not a hearing, we just.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, when Karen was talking about, when they were asking about the financing, and you were talking about, Karen was talking about updating the webpage and blah, 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 the things that she's doing, and you were describing the salaries. I had Pam make some copies of the resolutions, and I was looking 82/2004, which is the resolution that had to do with the funding, and nowhere in that resolution does it say that any funding from public health, which is my understanding, Karen Ladd's public health, would be available from the 38 cents a thousand. So how do you get away, and I'm not saying how do you get away with that, it sounds like you're pulling something, but how does that work? What am I not understanding that I need to understand?
The resolution she's talking about is the county's resolution when we formed the new district.
The county's resolution said hospital and public health services, isn't that correct?
No.
It was a lot broader
Yeah,
than.
the one I remember did.
It says to continue as the public health authority of Columbia County. There is nothing about any of the funding going to public health. So, again, I want to make sure that if I'm making statements, that I'm making statements according to the resolutions that were adopted
Okay,
by the
Stephanie?
board. Yeah,
We don't get our funding from Columbia County.
I know you're.
We get a certain amount from Columbia County for public health services. The past several years, it's been $100,000. for over $1 million worth of services.
That's for restaurant inspections, right?
That's, well, restaurant inspections, but most significantly, because we are a municipal corporation, because we are a government, we can receive state and federal funding directly. Years ago, when it was when public health was on a private nonprofit, the county received the funding and then funneled it into the private nonprofit. That's what happens with mental health now. We received that funding directly, so naturally that the county didn't have to put anything in that resolution about providing funding for public health, because that comes directly from the state and federal governments.
But the 38 cents per thousand that we've had such a little contention over in the last 4 years,
Yes.
you're taking that money that was for the critical access hospital, and Karen Ladd's using part of that money as her salary to provide hospital-based functions, according to what Jay just said.
Mhm.
Nothing in your resolution says you have any use or any availability of using any of that money, according to your own resolution. This is what I don't understand. You've said numerous times that you are using portions of that money for functions related to getting a hospital approved.
That's correct.
Public health official Karen Ladd, okay? She's public health. She's not hospital health, she's public health. Okay, but nowhere in your resolution, original resolution that you adopted, says you can do that. I don't understand how you can then. So explain to me how you can when your own resolution says you can.
I think you're
What
getting
am I, I'm
confused.
just not, I don't
I think you're
understand
getting
something.
confused about the person and what their tasks are. We've been real careful to split people up, split the one FTE, full-time employee, tasks up into very defined duties. So if they're working on a hospital function, back when we had the hospital, that part of the FTE was only spent on that. Those dollars which were lawfully spent on that function. For instance, let's use Thalia as a good example, because she's the financial person, so she touches all the different accounts. So part of her salary was public health monies, and a part was hospital duties. And she still has some of that, because there's still some spending on hospital-related functions. So it is a little hard to explain, but it's
Well,
all
What it feels
proper.
like is commingling of money, I guess is what.
Well, we try to avoid commingling, that's exactly, and we get audited on that, and, we have a lot of eyes that watch that.
Well, when you paid this public health building off after you won the election in 2004 with a sum of around $160,000 from that money.
That's interesting, Tammy, because the public health building hasn't been paid off.
Well, I have documents that show that it had been, $160-some thousand.
Your documents are wrong.
I want to use her documents. I like that idea.
Well, my last question, and I'll make this quick, it has to do with records requests. About a month ago, I came in and I did a records request for some information regarding travel. And I filled out the form. And 5 days later, I got a call from Thalia telling me that, or I got something in the mail, I should say, saying it was gonna cost me $218 for this information. 5 days later. 2 weeks ago, or a week ago, I came in, I filled out a form, I wanted the resolutions that I just talked to you about. A day later, I got a phone call from Pam telling me the records were available. It'd be about $2 and change for about 6 copies. What? That's nuts. 100 times more for records regarding your travel expenses for 2010? I mean,
We have a policy.
it didn't jive.
Well, I don't know, that's a technical thing, I don't know. But
The difference was, I was able to go right to your documents and bring them out here and make copies, and that's it. And the earlier request was asking for forms, asking for the billing, and it
That was
required it
multiple
back to
items.
2004.
No, it